Just got an email about it expiring.
Oh, okay.
Let me see.
I never got to actually log on.
Oh,
It wasn't working, so it
I
wasn't
know.
until today until I figure out how to do it.
it's always an issue.
You may need a chair from the floor. You may need a chair from the floor. That's what you borrow one of those.
I'm sorry, what's wrong?
Liz, it's nice to meet you.
Okay, nice big group this morning. Apologize we don't have desktops for all of you. And before we begin, my name is Brian Sokolic. I'm one of the reference librarians here at Barney Library. Nice to meet you all. And the first thing I have to say, and probably the most important thing I have to say all morning, is whenever you're looking for information for educational search topics, either on campus or off campus, don't hesitate to contact the Barney Library Reference Department. We're here to help you. So you can always email us at askllibrarian.wilkes.edu, or you can feel free to telephone the library at 570-408-4250. Ask for reference. You will always get a human being when you dial 570-408-4250. You will always get a human being, so you can ask for the reference department if you have a question. Go to the website. You'll also see you can text us and chat with us as well. So any questions about anything, don't hesitate to ask for help. We're here to help. What I want to do here this morning for you is introduce you to the Barney Library services and facilities available when you come to do your education search. Also, I want to set you up with some of the services, including interlibrary loan, which will probably be helpful, especially when you do research. Also, I want to introduce you to a program called EndNote. Who's heard of EndNote? Who's perhaps used EndNote before? Okay, you've heard of it. Okay, we have access to EndNote for you here at the library. I want to introduce you to it. You may think it's great. You may not want to bother with it, but I at least want to introduce you to it so you can practice with it and see if it will be effective to help you with your research tools. Okay. One other caveat before we get started. This is a big group. This room will get stuffy. It was designed without proper ventilation. So if somebody wants to get out and get a breath of fresh air, that's fine. It won't hurt my feelings. We've got a water fountain down the hall. So if you need to step out for a minute and get a breath of fresh air, use the restrooms all the way down, get a drink of water, be my guess. Okay. So the first thing you can do, those of you sitting in front of desktops, is log on to your desktop with your Wilkes username and password, which you know, yes?
No.
No.
They're not working.
They're not working. Oh, gosh. Oh, golly gee.
You have to
Okay.
wait 48 hours for 24 to 48
Okay,
hours.
I can log you on individually, but it's going to take about half an hour. Okay, let me log at least one table on here so you can at least follow along. Because it's,
Yeah, I tried. Do you really have to do what you were saying before you have to learn to interact? And you just log in because you know, you want to interact.
it's hot in here. They don't have their log-ons. Okay.
Well, it's just that you have to wireless.
Yes, you can get on to, if you've got your desktops, if you've got your laptops or handhelds.
And then wait 24 to 48 hours before we can.
Yeah, that's fine too. You can work on from there. Okay, let me just make sure. You every table.
They're very astute learners too. I bet they could learn something from the demonstration.
Okay. You're also going to need your
I know.
PIN number.
It's gonna sell it, but
Okay, good, good.
absolutely.
No, everything, our emails, I mean, anything that
All
we
right.
need as a student. Yeah, our emails, the lab.
Well, I wish I didn't come into the nobody can log on room because it's 900 degrees. Okay. Wait, that's all being recorded.
Good.
Yeah.
Nice.
We'll just turn
They kept telling me in the back, they're like, Mike. Brian, would you like me to just use my login
Yes,
to
that'd be
log a
great.
bunch of people in?
That would be great.
All right. Will you guys please log me out so I don't lose my job after? They'd be like, all these people changed grades. What's up with that?
Is the same username and password as our other stuff?
It should be.
That works. Yeah, it does. It works.
You good? You good? You good?
So where are you from?
I'm from Ringtown,
Oh, really?
but like Hospital.
Oh, really? Wow.
Yeah,
Do you like it?
I do. I like it a lot. I keep forgetting.
Oh, wow.
I know a little bit.
It has to be a challenge, I imagine.
It is.
Yeah.
Does everybody have?
Because you're on, I didn't have that screen.
Let's do that today if we log on the computer.
I'm thinking that.
Oh. Gotcha. It wasn't even next to the internet, is that right?
I teach here.
Oh, that's nice. So
Yeah.
how are you doing?
Thank God. Yeah.
Your interface is different than mine, right?
Yeah, I'm hoping everybody else teaches at college. Cool.
Yeah.
Oh,
I think, yeah.
Maybe another 10 years.
That's all the energy.
I'm not sure. Yeah.
Yeah. No, I know.
I mean, I would if I had to, but I'd rather just.
Are mine?
Yeah, that's what I think. I think that's cool with them, you know.
It's wilkes.edu/academic/library.
All right, you're all still smiling. Good, good. I have one apple juice. You can each take a tiny taste. All right.
And just click on Firefox.
Right. I'll give you the apple juice.
I'll pour it over my head.
Probably don't
Yeah, I mean, I went to Wilkes for 1 year when I was an undergrad, so I did all this stuff with the course and everything.
Oh, really?
Just for a weekend. I know. I was under the impression that the whole thing was going to be hybrid, half like you would 10 classes.
Okay, those of you with working desktops or handheld or mobile devices, you can either click on Firefox or Internet Explorer, whichever you prefer. And when you do that, you will go to the My Wilkes Portal page, which I'm sure you're all well familiar with. There are two ways of accessing the library resources. One is to work through the My Wilkes Portal page. Just log on, second tab from the left takes you to the My Wilkes Portal page for the library resources. I'm not going to work from the portal page for this morning's class. Instead, I'm going to scroll down under Academics, click on Library, and I'm going to work from the library homepage for this morning's class, partially because I can blow things up a little better for everyone, especially the folks in the back of the room to see. But the arrangement is identical, regardless if you're coming in for the portal page or the library homepage. Things are broken down by function. So you can see from the library homepage, if you're looking for something like books or articles or dissertations, if you're looking for something, it's going to be under the category of resources. Makes sense. If you need a library service, such as interlibrary loan or how to use EndNote, those are clustered under the category of services. And About Us is just some basic information about Farley Library. Okay, so it's very straightforward arrangement, depends on what you're looking for. Now, I want to begin with setting you all up with interlibrary loan accounts. And for this, you will need to know your WIN number. Okay, so hopefully you have your WIN number in hand. Not, you can look it up on the MyWilks page. But if you're following along, you want to scroll down under services and find the link for interlibrary loan. Those of you not in front of a desktop, you'll just have to make notes and register. But it's important to set up an interlibrary loan account. So find the link under services for interlibrary loan and click. That takes you to the interlibrary loan landing page. We use a service called Iliad for interlibrary loan. What interlibrary loan is typically you're searching in a database. You find a great article on exactly on your subject. It's not full text in our database. That can be very frustrating. Well, rather than give up and try to find an article that's not quite as good, you simply take your citation, submit it as an interlibrary loan request, and we'll get it for you for free. We'll just get you a digital copy of that needed article. So it's useful when you're doing research. But to use interlibrary loan, you have to use Iliad. And to use Iliad, you have to set up an Iliad account. So under the About, you see Iliad registration. So if you don't already have an interlibrary loan account, find the link for Iliad registration, click. This takes you to a red, gray, and black screen. You can scroll down to the bottom of that screen. This is just basically information about interlibrary. So you can speed read through this screen. The bottom where you see first-time users, click here. Go ahead and click. You go to a contact page. And those of you who can, let's take a few minutes, fill out your contact information. The ones with the red asterisks are required. So we do need your WIN number. Please use your Wilks email and give us a contact address. You will also need to make up a username and a password. Okay, so let's take a minute, those of you in front, and complete the registration for Iliad.
I will be creating a message or changing my email, but somebody else could. Thank you. Yeah, it was sticking before.
You see, most of you are advancing to the Iliad work screen. So this is where you need to be, the big screen I have on top. First thing I want to stress is after you create your Iliad account, be sure to write your password down someplace or put it in your phone. Don't lose it. The most common question I get about Iliad is, I can't remember my password. We can reset them for you, but it's a lot easier if you just don't lose your password to begin with. I don't know it.
Yeah.
Okay, okay. All right, so let me give you a quick demo here of how to use Iliad. So typically you find, as I said, a good article in a database which is not full text. So you simply log on to your Iliad account. Very simple. Left-hand column, you see the categories new requests. Article, book chapter, conference, dissertation. All right. So typically it might be an article. So simply click on new request for article and copy paste your bibliographic citation in. Click on submit request. Within 2 or 3 days in your Wilkes email account, you'll get a notice telling you your article has arrived. It's in your Iliad account and you can go get it. And within that Wilkes email, there'll be a link for something called electronically received articles. And so you can just follow that link for electronically received articles. That's under the view category. And I don't have an example to show you here under electronically received articles, but ordinarily you'd see a PDF right under the view column here, and you could pop that open and it'll be the full text of the article that you need. So it's free, it's painless, it's just not quite instantaneous. You need to leave about at least 2, maybe 3 days. The article will sit here for 30 days under view as a PDF, and then it will migrate to your all requests category, and you have a record of everything that you've ever submitted for interlibrary loan. So if you submit a citation, you can easily resubmit them. So everything comes electronically through your Wilkes email account. Books and dissertations will not come electronically through your email account. Okay, we can't send an email book. Books and dissertations, if you order those through Iliad, will come here to Farty Library, and you have to somehow get to Farty Library to pick up your book or pick up your dissertation. Okay. Then when you're finished with it, it has to come back to Farty Library. So if that's not an option, just keep in mind, articles will come and go electronically, but books and dissertations, you can get them for you through interlibrary loan, but they come and go from the library here. Okay. And that's all there is to using Iliad. Okay. So I'm going to close that out. Back to the library homepage. Yes.
Well, maybe I'll cover that. Is there any specific resources this library has that other libraries don't?
Most academic libraries have access to our version of ERIC. So for ERIC articles, not necessarily. ERIC documents are becoming full text nowadays. The only thing really that would be unique about our collection would be the education dissertations, which will only be available here at Wilkes. We won't have other students' dissertations from Purdue, other schools like that. And some parts of our book collection are unique for science technology. Also, we have a Polish Room book collection. So there are some unique aspects to our collection, but in terms of educational resources, we're good in science technology for some of those aspects. But not necessarily unique. Okay, so I'm back here at the library homepage. And to begin with, you're going to be looking for some articles for your subjects. And under resources, we've got the links for databases and indexes. So I'm clicking on the link for databases and indexes, and you get an alphabetical listing of lots and lots of different databases. Chemical databases, bioscience databases, you know, ERIC is an education database, but it can be a bit overwhelming at first when you approach this listing of databases. For example, SAGE journals, you may never have heard of SAGE journals. This actually has some education materials in it, all right? So the question becomes how to make sense of all this listing of databases, just jumping in and wading through and kind of wasting your time. Well, rather than have you just browse through and find what you can by yourself, the librarians have created things called research guides. Research guides are pathfinders to direct you to the resources you need without having to guess. So I'm under resources, and instead of just jumping in under databases, I'm going to click on the third one down, research guides, the research guides. And when I do that, I get an alphabetic listing by subject. So I'm going to scroll down under my research guides until I find the education research guide for graduate students. So find that research guide for graduate education and click. And here we go. So you can think of this as a one-stop shop, hopefully, for all of your information needs from Party Library. All right, so this was created by another librarian, Heather, so there's a picture of Heather. So these are meant to be pathfinders, if you will, to guide you to the directions you need to use. Perfectly obvious how to approach this. You've got tabs across the top. So just briefly going through some of these tabs, reference resources, and you probably won't be using too much of reference resources, but if you wanted to verify a definition of a theory or a term or something like that, most of these listed here are going to be electronic reference resources. Finding articles is very important, so we're going to spend some time with finding articles. Finding books. We'll introduce you to a database called WorldCat, which will be helpful, especially when you get off campus. Other resources, including electronic dissertations. So we'll look at many of these tabs here this morning. So I'm going to click on the Find Articles tab. And before we start looking for some citations, notice on the left-hand column, you see journal lists. So if you're following along under Find Articles, click on the journal list. Okay, and this will take you to the Party Library journal list. This will tell you what's available here, both print and online, print or digital, here at Party Library. So, for example, if you want to verify that we subscribe to Reading Teacher, I've just typed in front and center of Reading Teacher, click search. Okay, and I get a display such as this, which tells me, yes, we do have Reading Teacher by its presence. Then you can see we have Reading Teacher in several different formats. We have it from the 1950s to 2011 in a database called JSTOR. Now you know. We have some print journals surviving up to 2001. We have to a year ago in a database called Academic Search Premier, and up to 4 years ago to present in a Wiley-Blackwell full collection. Okay, so if you need that journal, this is where it's located. Notice it's not an error. Surprisingly, Reading Teacher, you would have thought would have been an error, but it's not. All right. So I'm going to click on the one that leads to present, which is something called Wiley-Blackwell full text collection. So just follow the link. Here we are with the online version of Reading Teacher. I can click on the current issue and browsing through the table of contents here. And going to click on the PDF for teaching tip article, and it pops open. There's the full text. So that's all there is to it. If you are ever doing this from home and that PDF doesn't pop open, even though it says you have full text access, but it's not working for you, call us immediately. Okay? There's a bug in the system. We need to sort it out. It's a problem your end, it's a problem of our end. Okay? One word of caution that we discovered, if you try to open some of our database full text on a school campus, your school district will usually be running firewalls that will prevent PDFs from popping open. Okay, so just bear that in mind. It's something we have noticed about. It's a common problem with school districts. Okay, so far so good. So that's how you can verify if we own an individual journal or magazine. Typical assignment that professors will give is they'll give you a citation and tell you go to Party Library, find the full text. That's a common citation. That's a common problem assignment. Okay, you could do it this way, browsing through, but Notice on this page, I'm still in the electronic journals list. Up in the upper right-hand corner where you see search by citation, you're following along in the upper right-hand corner, click on that link where it reads by search by citation. This makes it a lot easier to target individual citations. Okay, so the professor says, okay, find the article, and I think the word teaching was in the title, and it was from, the professor is positive, it's from the Journal of Teacher Education, and it gives you volume 63. Doesn't know the issue number, pages are 92, and he thinks the year was 2012. So you complete the citation information as much as you've got, and click on the search for full text. And if we have it, it will find it in our database. So it should be a little delay there. That means it's finding it. Okay, if it's not there, it'll come back, record not found. But here's my citation that the professor gave me, teaching rather than teachers, from the Journal of Teacher Education. So it's very straightforward, very simple. Just type in that citation information, click on the PDF full text, and it pops open. So those are just a couple of handy, useful things to keep in mind. Very simple to use. Okay, I've backed out of all of those. I was in the journals list. Now I'm back to my one-stop shop, my research guide, and other things you can do here. There's some ERIC tutorials and some e-journals here. But let's cut to the chase and start looking at some of these important education databases. Okay. First on the list, something you're all probably well familiar with, ERIC. So you've used ERIC before. Our version of ERIC comes through a database called EBSCOhost. Okay. There's a free version of ERIC out there on the web that you can use too, and I recommend you use our version, partially because you're paying for it, so you have some good advantage of using it. But this has more search features that are available rather than just using the government-sponsored one. But other databases available. Okay, blew that screen up. Academic Search Premier is good for any subject under the sun. There's the other version of ERIC. JSTOR, we saw that in one of the lists. So some of these other resources might be helpful if you're doing education research. But for now, I'm going to cut to the chase and click on ERIC, EBSCOhost. Okay. So let me give you a quick refresher of how to use ERIC. And also at the same time, I'll show you how you can use EndNote in conjunction with ERIC. This is an EBSCOhost database, and you do not want to treat any library search database as if it's Google. Right? Many times I see our incoming freshmen treating databases like they're Google. So they just throw in a keyword. I've typed in the word inclusion, send the search out. I did a very thoughtless search, and I've made more work for myself in the long run because I treated it like it's Google, and it acts like Google. Now I have 15,000 citations to browse through under inclusion, and I'm not about to do that, obviously. So you don't want to treat this as if it's Google. Instead, you want to take a more systematic approach in using ERIC. Two ways of doing that. One is to use the ERIC thesaurus, available across the blue ribbon on top. The other way, a little bit more intuitive, is to use the advanced search mode in ERIC. So we're going to take a look at both of these in passing here. So I'm going to begin by clicking on the ERIC thesaurus up on the blue ribbon. Okay. I did a search on inclusion, found way too many, tried to make a manageable paper. So I'm going to try once more inclusion under where it reads browsing, ERIC thesaurus. I've typed in inclusion, I'm going to click browse. I'm not looking for articles at this point. I'm looking for subject headings. Okay. So this will allow you to verify, first off, is your subject there to begin with? And if it is a blue link, it's good to use. Okay. Notice if I had done a search on inclusive schools, it directs me use inclusion. Independent colleges, I have to use private colleges. So this allows you to use the right terminology that the system uses. It's just a way of connecting with what you need better. And see, this kind of subject term indexing doesn't exist in Google. It's an alien concept for Google. All right, so here's inclusion front and center. So I'm going to check the box, add my search, and I've simply loaded that search. Looks complicated, but it's not. DE technically means descriptor, but it's just a subject heading. Anytime you see DEs in ERIC, it's a subject heading. So I'm doing a subject search in inclusion, and instead of getting 15,000, I get 3,000. Okay. So I'm getting less quantity, better quality. So I'm headed in the right direction, and I'm still getting a lot. Okay. So I'm going to go back and clean up this search even more. I'm going to click on thesaurus once more. Inclusion. And notice that subject is a link itself. And so if I just click on that link, it will display all of the related subheadings, which might be better to use than a broad term like inclusion. All of these are related synonyms that I can choose from. Those I'm really interested in: academic accommodations for students with disabilities. Want that, and I'm just going to choose one from the list, mainstreaming. So I can choose multiple subject headings here from the list. I've got 2 here selected. Scroll up, I want to add it, but now I have to choose or, and, or not. I have to combine these 2 concepts together. So I'm searching on academic accommodations and mainstreaming. I want both of those subjects to be in every record of my search. So what do I want? Or and? And. You guys are good. Yes. Okay. But then, and again, looks complicated, but it's not. Simply a subject search on academic accommodations and a subject search on mainstreaming. Do the search. Now I get a nice manageable set of 122. So less quantity, better quality. Ooh, there's even a literature review, so that looks useful. Okay, so far so good, but I can still clean this up further. First off, you probably are well aware that ERIC gives you different kinds of information formats. There are scholarly articles from peer-reviewed sources, which are always acceptable for research terms, situations. And there are things called ERIC documents. ERIC is interesting in that it pulls in all this auxiliary scholarly information and classifies them as ERIC documents. So these could be speeches at conferences, they could be classroom guides, they could be books, they could be dissertations, they could be government reports. They're useful pieces of information that most databases miss, but ERIC has included those. If your professor says, find an article, you can't use those documents, and typically they want you to use articles. So I'm just going to set it for check the box for the academic journals. So I've just tossed out all of those ERIC documents. I've got a date range, and the professor says it has to be within the last 10 years or so. Just change your date range. So I've chopped my set in half, and I still have a fairly robust set there. Left with 62. Now, the big temptation for freshmen, anyway, is to throw that full text limiter, especially if their paper's due in 20 minutes. Okay? I would strongly advise against throwing that full text limiter, because you could throw away the best article on your subject just because it wasn't full text. Okay? So I'm going to click on the first citation here. Obsessive compulsive disorder, what educators need to know. So this is the basic bibliographic citation. Your source is the name of your scholarly journal. There's all the bibliographic information. The way I did my search, these are all peer reviewed. Here are all of those subject headings, labeled descriptors. And what you want to do each time you find a really useful article, go through these descriptors, go through these subject headings. It might give you leads to things you hadn't really thought of. Okay, such as intervention, metacognition. So spot check those subject headings. It'll prompt you for additional good ideas that you may not have thought of. Okay, there's your abstract, number of references. So far so good. Next, you see on the right-hand column, check for what's full text. Okay, typically you'll see a PDF if it is full text. All right, I don't see the PDF here, so if I want to get this one for physical disabilities, I'm going to follow the link, check for what's full text, and I get the sorry, not available. Okay, full text doesn't pop open there. But since I have an interlibrary loan account, it's not the end of the story. I can just click on request via interlibrary loan. Here's my Iliad logon. I'm actually going to log myself back in and watch what happens. That article pops in, the citation pops in. That's called repopulate. So it saves you a step. You don't have to go back and forth and copy paste. So if you find something you need, just follow the link, log in, click submit. So it's a little labor savings up there. So anything available here which is not full text, we can get for you using interlibrary loan. Okay, so far so good. On the right-hand side, I've got a toolbox. Okay, and I can add these to a folder if I want to. Actually, it probably should be on the previous page, but I can add these to a temporary folder, and they'll be in my folder as long as I'm logged in. Okay, I can either print or email these to myself, and suppose I want to do a print. Click on print, I go to the print manager display, and I can actually set the citation to print a certain style. And the style I want for education is
APA.
Yes. Okay, APA. So I'm actually going to click print. I'm not actually going to do a print. And here is your citation in potentially correct APA style, because citation builders do make mistakes. So it gets it into the ballpark for you, but always spot check yourself to make sure it's not making any mistakes. Common problem is the entire title is capitalized because that's the way we send it into the database. So we get it into the ballpark for you, and never assume it's correct. Yes. No problem.
I teach at college.
Ah,
Class starts an hour.
Good for you. You better not be late.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Thank you though.
You're welcome.
Okay.
Okay. All right. Oops. Too far out. Okay, I accidentally X'd out of that. So I'm just going to, select another one here. So we're looking at the print and email function. I'm also running EndNote in the background. All right. EndNote is a useful citation tool, bibliographic software citation tool, because it will allow you to take citations from our library databases, store them into your EndNote account. If you ever had a assignment in grade school where your teacher made you fill out those index cards with the bibliographic information, the paper cards, anybody ever done that? Yes?
I have my kids.
EndNote is like the electronic version of that. So it allows you to store your citations from different databases into one central repository location. That in itself is very useful. But as you'll see, you can then open up Word, start typing your paper, take your citations from EndNote, drop them directly into your Word document. And so that is the real value of having an EndNote account. I'm running EndNote in the background. That's what EndNote looks like. And later on in this class, we're going to all set you up with EndNote accounts. Okay? But to take this citation on third grade elementary students' perception science, put it into my EndNote account, it's very simple. In my toolbox, scrolling down the page, I have an option for export. Find the tool for export. Click. You go to the Export Manager display. Looks complicated, but it's very simple, actually. You just want the option for direct export to EndNote Web. That's the only one you need to concern yourself with. Direct export to EndNote Web. Currently, it's second from the bottom. So I check the circle for direct export to EndNote Web, click Save, and bang. Half a nanosecond later, it's in my EndNote account. That's how simple it is. If I click under my References tab on the left side for EndNote, there it is. Okay. It's very very simple to take citations from library databases, put them into your EndNote account. We'll show you how to do this shortly. Okay. I'm going to minimize that. Okay. And do another kind of a search here in ERIC that you may not be aware of. So once you're familiar with ERIC, you can usually find what you need very well. That was going in by the Onontosaurus. Okay, remember the other option I said was to do the advanced search. So beyond our search boxes here, I have a link for advanced search. Click. And you have the same search boxes above, but beneath you have more search options. Okay. This time I want to do a search and see if I can find a dissertation in ERIC. ERIC does have some dissertations. Doesn't have a huge amount, but there are some here. So I've typed in job satisfaction on the first line, and I'm going to type principles on the second line. Principles. I'm going to leave everything wide open. If you do nothing for select a field, it treats it as a keyword search like Google does. But notice here, you can set it if I wanted to for those subject headings or abstracts, title words. So this is just a way to do a better quality search using some of these search filters. But in this case, I'm going to leave it wide open. And if I send the search out, okay, I get about 600 here. But I'm going to redo this search on job satisfaction with principles in the advanced search mode. I'm scrolling down under publication type. And I can scroll past books and find dissertations, theses, all. I like that field. We do the search, and I get 71 dissertations and theses on job satisfaction with principles. Okay, so there are some here, not a huge amount, and many of these are not full text, unfortunately. Let's click on the first one here, and here's a typical citation. And we have no indication anywhere on the page that that's full text. So that's a problem searching ERIC for dissertations. You can usually find some, but they're not likely to be full text. These are all classified as ERIC documents. So I'm just going to spot check a couple of here. And if there's any full text to be had, you'll see a link under availability. Okay. Do one more. See if I can find a full text example. Okay, but struck out 3 times in a row. But if there's any full text to be had, just follow the link at the bottom of the page. I know many times graduate students in education. Yes.
Can you search for dissertations by the author?
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, I did it by keyword search, but up here with my search filters, there's author.
Okay.
So I can search just for author too. So. Okay. So that's pretty much what I wanted to cover with ERIC. Any questions about ERIC? Okay, I'm going to press on and introduce you to a database called WorldCat that you may not be familiar with. And WorldCat is helpful when you are trying to locate dissertations as well. There are some in WorldCat. So I've backed up to my one-stop shop in education. This is like my landing page here. I always remember going back to my one-stop shop. And we're going to find articles here. So I'm going to click on Find Books next. So I want to do a search in a database called WorldCat. Scrolling down the page here, I see search WorldCat. WorldCat, if you're not familiar with, is a super database which collects together the holdings of thousands of libraries all across North America, even some European and some Asian libraries into a super database. It's called WorldCat, stands for World Catalog, as opposed to World Catalog. So if it's held in a public academic special library nationwide, you can usually find a copy and verify where it is. Right? So it's a useful database to do a search in. I'm going to begin by just doing a search here. No child left behind. And for a minute here. Okay, so I did a search on No Child Left Behind, and I get 25,000 records. Now, it could be books, it could be articles, it could be musical scores, it could be any sorts of information here. And I'm just going to click on one, for example, here. Many children left behind, how No Child Left Behind Act is damaging our children and our schools. Okay, so that's the okay, so you verify this is the book, basically we got information. Unfortunately,
I'm meeting with somebody on campus.
No problem.
I'm so sorry.
no problem.
We're gonna move on again.
Unfortunately, you usually can't find the full text from here unless it's a government document. But what you can do is scroll down the page, and I've entered in the local university zip code, 18766. And it's searching out from a radius from my computer, in fact, and finding every library nearby that has a copy of Many Children Left Behind. So you see Oosterhout Public, a block up the street, has a copy. Scranton Public, University of Scranton, Bloomsburg. This is a popular book. Okay. We don't have a copy, but at this point, we've got a couple of choices. We could try to get it for you through interlibrary loan, then you'd have to come on campus. But if you're from Allentown, notice the Allentown Public Library has a copy, and maybe you can just go to your local public library and either get it or use their interlibrary loan. The public libraries will have interlibrary loans too. So you could, if you're a member of a local public library, you could just ask them to get it for you. You don't have to ever come back to campus. So WorldCat, the other nice thing about WorldCat, you don't have to log on. So that you don't need your Works username and password. Even after you graduate, you can access WorldCat. It's a useful database, no problem. Okay. But while I'm here, I want to locate some dissertations. So I'm going to click on, up at the top, Advanced Search. Okay. So this is going to allow me to do a more in-depth search. And I want to try to locate some full text dissertations. So I'm going to type in No Child Left Behind. Okay. And if you can remember to do this, under Content, I want to select Thesis and Dissertations. Under Format, I want to select Computer File. So content looking for dissertations, computer file, hoping to find some of those full text ones. Search. Those will be plenty of dissertations here, but dissertations held at a library nationwide will find it. But I want to try to find something I can display right here, right now. So I'm going to click on the first one, Meeting the Challenge of No Child Left Behind. Scrolling down the page, notice this is Indiana University and Indiana, PA. Here's a link, middle of the screen, click. Okay, now I'm at Indiana University, and I just have to kind of search around on the page. Here's something that says View Open, so I just have to be persistent, follow the trail, pop open the full text of this. Looks like it's a DVD. Okay. So you can find some full text dissertations in WorldCat. Okay. For free. Free is good. So, remember I got that by doing the search in No Child Left Behind with setting it to thesis and computer file. If you forget the computer file, you'll find plenty, but they may not be full text. So, WorldCat's a fun database to search around in, but that's all I'm going to say about WorldCat for now. So I'm backing up. Okay. Okay, let's spend a few minutes here on other ways you can locate dissertations. So we have a link here for electronic shop page. Okay. And when I do that, okay, we've seen ERIC for dissertations. We've seen WorldCat for dissertations. This network digital library is a little awkward to use because you have to go library by library. The best source to find dissertations is something called Dissertations Abstracts. which unfortunately we don't subscribe to. Our budget won't support it. All right, but you can find some dissertations for free using what's called PQDT Open. So make a note of PQDT Open. Click. Okay, this is produced by a database called ProQuest, and this will allow you to search portions of the complete dissertation's abstracts. Okay. For example, this is an opening page here, and I'm going to click on the more search options, and I can do a better quality search here. And I'm going to stick once more with No Child Left Behind. So I'm searching the open access dissertations on No Child Left Behind. And I find 23 citations, 23 dissertations. Okay. The good news is each and every one of these 23 are free full text. You can access them right here, right now. Bad news is there's probably more out there on the subject, but I'm searching through a subset of the dissertation's abstract, whereby the authors of these dissertations have paid ProQuest a fee of $95 to host open access information. All right, I can click on the full text, click on the terms and conditions, and there is the open access free full text of this particular dissertation on No Child Left Behind. Because Leslie Ann Ryan from Prescott College, okay, it's master's, there are some dissertations, EDDs here. She paid ProQuest $95 to host open access of her material. And our education department encourages that. They don't subsidize it, but they encourage it. And so the idea being, unless you think you're going to turn your dissertation into a New York Times bestseller, it might be a nice idea to put your information out there too, so that all researchers will have access to it. Okay, so it's typically done just so that you can start to make a name for yourself out there and let other researchers have access to it. But obviously, if you want to turn it into a published book at some point, you don't want to do that. But the education department does encourage you to do that. All right. I'm going to back up to my screen here on PQDT, and I'm going to search for Wilkes University. Okay, so I get seven citations. We're talking about open access for the dissertations and how the education department encourages the students to pay the $95 and have their materials available on ProQuest. Yes? Yes.
I have to make an announcement quick, if you don't mind. We already heard you. HA1 of each course, 610 and 612, are going to be face-to-face on campus. So those of you who want a face-to-face class, same dates, same times. So if you want face-to-face, register for HA1 of 610 and HA1 of 612. Or you might want to do one face-to-face and one remote. It's up to you. But just ignore that it says WebEx. We're going to get a room and everything in those dates. But if you want face-to-face and you sign up, you have to be here for those dates. Okay? So you can't flip like, well, I'll show up once and then, no, it's a face-to-face sections.
HA1 and
Yeah.
So it's no longer on the web. It's
No.
gonna be on, she
Well, good.
registered me for that already, and so then I have to, if I can't.
Right. But I mean, because we heard from a bunch of people, advised mentors already wrote to me that some people want face-to-face, like they want to come here and meet. So, yeah, you could change easily. Just let us know, or let Renee know if she can move you, or Pam will move you around. All right, because we're hearing from that. Like all the mentors wrote back to me already that some of you asked for that.
So if you do sign up for the face-to-face session, still only those dates that are on
Yep.
would be in person.
so it's the
Right.
Okay.
it's the Tuesday and Thursday 6 to 8:31.
Yeah.
But we still have access to that online, that like
Got
live that will to do discussion boards.
Oh, yeah,
Well-
everything, the program is hybrid. Hybrid means that part of it is online, part of it's face-to-face. That's the whole program. So it doesn't matter if you meet virtually, synchronously, or you come here. It's the same exact coursework. All the stuff is online. You still do online discussions. You're going to do the same amount of work. It doesn't matter. You're still going to do the online discussions. That's part of it. Because when you come here for only 4 sessions, there's very limited time that you're going to be here. It's not like you're meeting like a typical face-to-face class, which is typically every week for graduate. Okay? So we're trying to accommodate everyone's needs. And I said we're responsive, so I don't think you can get more responsive than this. Okay.
So to do the WebEx, I'd have to change to the 8 o'clock for the Sunday.
Yeah, you want to
Okay,
do WebEx, okay? So you still have 2 online options later in the evening, just because it seems like that works better for people, because every time we do them early, there's kids running around, people are like, there's dinner time, because they're home, and it makes it difficult, and everybody's awake and up, and so we're just gonna do it later. Okay, and we'll see how that goes.
We had about, just so you know, we had about 6 or 7 already leave. People.
Oh, no, we're gonna send it out to
Wow.
everybody. I just wanted to catch whoever was here, and we're gonna send an email, and everyone will know. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
all right, let us worry about that. Okay, everyone will know. Mhm.
Okay. So back to the topic at hand. So these are the web students who have elected to make their information freely available. The other thing you can do on PQDT is I'm going to click on About, the link for About. There's another way to search called Dissertation Express. So I'm going to find the link for Dissertation Express. Okay. This will allow me to search the full-blown dissertations abstracts, except it's going to chop my search off, stop my search after it hits a ceiling of 40. Okay. So if I do a broad search on a big subject like No Child Left Behind, I'm very quickly going to hit the ceiling of 40. Okay, so it stops my search, it's searching the full-blown dissertations abstracts, but it quits after 40. All right. You get the title, the author, some basic information. That's all you get. So what's the point of it? Well, the point for the company is that they would like you to order a copy. All right, so I'm going to click on order a copy, and then under select format, you can see PDF download is $38, soft cover is $56, hard cover is $72. So it's a free search, but if you want the information, you have to pony up for it. Now, we can try to locate a copy of this for you using interlibrary loan, or your local public library can try. Most schools won't loan dissertations, but we can certainly try, because if this was only done at Purdue, and Purdue says no, we're out of luck. And your only other option would be to purchase one directly. So dissertations, very useful information, but it can be hard to get, or it could be expensive to get. But that's just the realities of doing research on dissertations. Okay, one last thing I want to cover here is setting you up with EndNote accounts. If there's no questions about anything else. Okay. Okay, I'm going to actually demo, before I set you up with accounts, I want to demo the advantage of using EndNote. So I've opened up Word from my desktop. Here's an option for EndNote. I'm going to log on to my EndNote account. Just to show you EndNote in action. This is going to open up a subroutine in Word that you're probably not familiar with if you don't already have an EndNote account. So this is Word, you're looking at Word, the EndNote subroutine. So I'm going to start typing a paper. This is a paper for, what's the class number? ED
610?
610 sounds good. Okay. So I'm ready to put a parenthetical citation and start to build my citation. I'm going to click on Insert Citations. Keyword here, previously I did a search on nervosa bulimia. Here's my citation, click Insert, and it pops it in with a parenthetical reference, starts to build my bibliography. The catch is, that's not APA style. This is the American Association of Petroleum Geologists. So I'm going to click Scroll down the page and there are dozens and dozens of citing styles. I'm going to stop with APA 6th edition. And it puts it in with a proper parenthetical reference, starts to build the bibliography. So once you have citations in your EndNote account, you can use it in conjunction with Word. All right? Now, if you want to learn how to do that, here's how. First off, go to the library homepage. We want to get you set up with an EndNote account. So just open up the library homepage, go back to the library homepage. This time we have to click on databases and indexes. Scroll down the page under databases and indexes until you see EndNote. EndNote is a database listed here. So find EndNote, click. I'm already logged in, all right, but when you click on EndNote, you're going to get a screen asking for your logon. And if you don't already have an EndNote account, right above that logon, go ahead and create an account for yourself. Scroll down the page under E for EndNote, click. Okay, if you want to, go ahead, create an account right there and create yourself an EndNote account. You won't automatically use your Wilkes email username. You have to create a separate account. So scroll down the page. There's E for EndNote. Create an account. Okay. You can use anything, but you have to click right there first. Okay. It will ask you to make up a username and a password, just like Elliot did. So if you want to.
Okay, I'm sorry, where does it say creating an account?
Okay, you're not on the right page here. So we need to go back to the library homepage. Databases and indexes, yes.
That's where it was.
And then click EndNote.
That's what I did.
That's what you did.
And I don't have created an account.
No, this is very puzzling. It's probably because you're using the guest password, so it's not.
What gets password?
Yeah, log on with Did you try logging on with your username and password? Because you're probably going through the proxy server since you're using your own laptop there. Other than that, we do have some available desktops. Sure. Yes. It's a useful program to be familiar with. It just takes a second. Yes. There you go.
It was the same,
Okay.
username. Oh,
That's fine. But now you can do it, create an account.
okay.
Yes. There you go. Please use your Wilkes email account. Got an EndNote account, 2 EndNote accounts. Again, make sure you write down your password. 3 EndNote accounts. Yes. Okay, click on Firefox.
Oh, right. That's on it is an icon.
Not quite as convenient as that. Okay, it's a little slow loading. So now, go down the page there. And you can scroll down under databases and indexes. And you do need it. This is all of our databases. Find E for EndNote. Yeah, actually go there. And just actually accept that. And scroll down under EndNote. E for EndNote. Right there. E for EndNote. And then create an account. Create an account. Good to go. Take a minute until everybody gets caught up.
I am not.
Okay, those of you with EndNote accounts. Yes, okay, so good. Scroll down. Okay, doesn't matter, that's kind of going into seed route. So do library, and then scroll down under databases and indexes. And then scroll down. Those of you with EndNote accounts created, minimize your EndNote account, go back into ERIC, find a citation, any citation in ERIC, pull up the bibliographic citation display, and get some practice exporting it. So I'm back to the library homepage, back to ERIC. Just get a feel for using that export on the toolbox on the right-hand side. Work. Okay. I got the wrong ERIC. Yeah, that's okay. So we'll do a search on reading, for example. And on the toolbox on the right-hand side, just click export. Remember, you want direct export to EndNote Web. Check, save. Puts it right into your EndNote account. And then on the far left, you click on My References. And you should see your references that you sent over under front and center, also under the category Unfiled. So while we're waiting for everyone to catch up, just make sure you can easily accomplish that. Okay, you're good to go. So what I just suggested, let's just go back and find the user citation. Yeah. Just do a search here. So here's your toolbox. Click export. Export manager. Direct export and save. And you click on my references. There it is on the file. Okay. Two things you have to show you, then we're finished here. Within your EndNote, on the left-hand column, the gray column, under My References, you should see the word unfiled and a number in parentheses. The number is the number of articles you sent across. I've got 2 unfiled. It's always a good idea, this is a little bookkeeping step, but rather than just leave them unfiled, I'm going to check my unfiled citations, check the boxes adjacent to them, scroll up slightly where it says add to group, and then click new group, and I'm going to call my new group the course number ED 610. So it just moves them out of the unfiled category and adds them to your course number. So if you're working on different papers for different courses, just a way of keeping things straight. Okay? You don't have to do that if you forget, but it just makes sense. Otherwise, you're going to have hundreds of unfiled. Okay? More importantly, minimize EndNote and open up Word from your desktop. Open up Word from your desktop. Once you get Word open, find the EndNote tab on the far right, click, and you need to get into the EndNote subpage on Word. It might ask for your EndNote logon once more, and if it does, give it the once.
I'm not getting anywhere, sorry.
Okay, you bet. Okay, click on the first. Excellent. And that looks good. That's right. Okay. Let's go back to you. My references. There it is. On file. And if you want to put it in the file, check.
Okay.
And then, yeah, check. And then you work there. That's what you need to do. Good to go. Now, this won't work unless you have a plugin installed. I'll show you how to do the plugin in a second. You got it. It's very straightforward once you get the hang of it. Okay. Your laptop doesn't have the plugin installed, so you just have to be patient. You've got EndNote there. Okay. If you're using Wilkes hardware, you got it.
Quick question.
Yes.
Do we always have to search for, or will they come up automatically? I know.
It should search automatically. So
Okay.
if you click find,
Yeah, I typed
there
it
you
in.
go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But when you first open
You
this,
have
will
to
it
type
get-
in a
you have
keyword.
to, okay.
You have to type in a
Got it.
keyword. Yes. Okay, those of you with EndNote and Word open, on the far left where you see the magnifying glass, insert citations. Click and you get a pop-up, looks like this. Type in a keyword from the article from EndNote, click find, it will find your citation, then click insert, it's gonna do a double here, and it just puts it in with a parenthetical reference and it starts to build up your bibliography. If it's not set for APA style, you have trillions of styles to choose from, just set it to APA and you're good to go. Okay? That's all there is to it. And it will even alphabetize these as you go. And so it will build your bibliography, put in parenthetical references, alphabetize them. But again, double check, occasionally it will make mistakes. And that's all there is to it. Yes.
Do you have on the library, like, is there like a written, everything you've said today, is there a
Yes. Yes, there is under library tutorials.
tutorial?
Yes, and also we're setting up some animations of this as well. So those are listed under, actually, let me go back to databases and indexes. In the research guides, there should be actually one there for in education. Tutorials from EndNote should be there. Yeah, it's under distant learners, tutorials. So back to my one-stop shop. Under distance learners, tutorials. Okay, here's what we just covered. EndNote Web. We're using something called Cite While You Write. That's the function I'm using in Word. So here you can work through these, because it's a bit of a crash course that we're getting here this morning. Okay? So you can work through these. Now, very importantly, EndNote, to do this Cite While You Write within Word, you have to have a plugin installed. So that's not why it's not working on your mobiles there. So it's very simple to install this Cite While You Write function. Back to your EndNote account. Scroll down on any page within EndNote where you see the fine print 2015 Thomson Reuters. The fourth link over is something called Download Installers. Find Download Installers and click. And then you can put this, it's called the Cite While You Write plugin, just install it onto your system. There's a Firefox extension, there's a Mac extension, here's an Explorer plugin. So just pick the one you want, follow the link, it will install that plugin on your home system or your mobile system. It doesn't work very well for iPads, but we haven't had problems with laptops or other types of systems. When it does this, it will also modify your Word. So if you've got Word up from your desktop, it will add that tab to your Word. It's the Cite While You Write plugin, so you'll have that capability. It's an easy program to use. It's like riding a bicycle. Once you learn, you never forget. It's not complicated. You can add things manually. Lots of things you can do here for collect, new reference. You can import them, or you can just manually type it in. You can share these with each other. If you're working collaboratively, you can create groups and everyone can have access with an email address. You can work collaboratively offline, doing bibliographies. So it's a nice, easy program to use. I don't think your passwords ever expire. So when you go on to other situations, you can still use it. Yes.
By any chance, do you know if this is working with Windows 10? Because I just updated. I know they revamped their whole internet.
Oh, bless your heart.
Yeah.
An early adopter here. I would not be surprised that it does work.
Okay.
I think it should work.
Okay.
Yeah, but if you're more courageous than Wilkes.
I'll let you know.
Yeah. Wilkes still refuses to go to EndNote. Won't go to EndNote or 10 anytime soon. So you just want to practice with EndNote. Once you get onto it, I think you'll find it's pretty straightforward, easy program to use. Any questions about anything? Hopefully you can find your information, use Interlibrary Loan, get access to dissertations. Okay, that's what I wanted to cover here this morning. If you have any other questions, don't hesitate to contact us. So, nice meeting you all.
Thank you.
Oh, yes, yes. Okay, sure.
So you have a setup for that? Is that
Yes,
what
you do. Okay, so that's another account.
Before we go here to, you set it up, the downloading.
Yes.
But where
Okay,
I
so
go
if you
to-
want to put this on your home computer, down at the bottom of any page, here's download installers. And so if you just want, probably Explorer plugin will be the easiest one to do, unless you run your Mac system. Just click that, will install it on your home system.
Okay.
And you should.
It's nice to meet you.
Word,
Very
that's
well,
all.
too.
And
See,
Word,
I'm
that's
sure.
all.
I am
That's
very
all there
sure,
is to it.
yes.
Download installers. Program
Yes,
site.
I watch it.
So
Bye.
use this, and I'm going to minimize this for now.
Public safety.
Back to the library homepage. And that was
Oh,
a
what do we need?
service for Interlibrary Live.
Well, it's the ID card, so you can do the
Interlibrary Live,
stuff.
and here's
who
the
said that?
registration.
I don't remember when that was even said.
And you can see through this page.
Oh,
I'll ask at the front desk. Thank you.
Go ahead
Yeah,
and fill out
yeah.
the red asterisk fields.
I definitely
And
need
try,
to.
Maybe your EndNote password will work here. You only have one set of passwords to remember. But once you get this page completed, you've got a new library on.
I see, okay. Thank you very much.
Yes.
That is awesome.
That is ingenious.
so glad they changed it to some face-to-face
I
classes.
agree.
I said to them, I said, you know what, if this is just gonna be an online class,
Yeah.
I might as well go somewhere else and pay a lot less money.
I agree.
$1,800 I'm gonna pay for an online class when I'm an alumni here. And they don't have an alumni discount.
And see, when they told us, it wasn't set up because.
I said, I don't learn well online. I can't, even when there is if there's an assignment online
Right.
to read, I have to print it out.
I agree.
I cannot read
I
from,
understand.
I said, and like, seriously, it doesn't work for me.
No,
I
I
just do not learn like that.
Yeah.
And I said, I'll tell you, it's really expensive. I don't understand what I'm paying $1,800 for if
I agree.
I'm sitting at home,
I agree. Everybody should do that.
you know, like,
Yeah. Now, good luck, hopefully.
yeah, then maybe I'll see you
I know.
every
okay.
Tuesday, Thursday.
It looks that way.
Yeah.
Sense of direction is terrible.
Oh,
How do I
okay.
get out?
Yes, yes, so we're in the lower level here.
Okay.
And so we go stairwell up and then out.
I know a little bit of Spanish, but a lot of it can't do my best. Wait, you got that? One, two, four. Oh, I ain't done it. So back up. Yo. Yeah, when I get my dog this year, so you help me like well, no, you help me well, I still don't know how to do. Wait, you used to do IR before recrystallization, or you do that?